Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here on the screen with all of you, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity to present today an intercultural approach to Taiji Health, common denominators of natural medicines. My name is Estelle Vilà, and I'm currently in Torelló, a town near Barcelona, where I run a center for holistic health, where I teach Qigong, and I share the space with other practitioners of different therapies and practices. I am a member of the Observatory of TCM, of Practitioners Register, and I also work as a translator specifically in the field of Qigong. In today's presentation, we're going to look into these common denominators of natural medicines, which are, to me, sharing this common essence related to natural balance, health as wholeness, transpersonal healing, and then the principle that for me brings them all together. Well, they're all together anyway, which is the mind-heart as the seat of healing. And finally, we're going to sum up a little bit everything. For me, it's very important and very needed in the West to be able to provide a theoretical and academic framework that explains why these holistic therapies, these natural medicines work. It's not only to scientifically prove that they are efficient and to make studies on how they impact on different illnesses, which is also important, but it is also important that the scientific academic minds can rationally understand what are the principles behind this natural healing. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how much we prove that they work. If they don't understand why they work, they will never accept this kind of practices. And here is where I see a true treasure behind Taiji Health. All the philosophy that underlies it, for me, it's this much needed academic framework that not only serves to explain Qigong and TCM from a broad perspective, but also it can be applied to many other natural therapies. However, in the West, there are also many currents of therapies and natural medicines that understand the human being as a whole and with its energetic aspects, and they speak a different language. They speak in other terms. So here I would like to merge into those terms the understanding of Taiji Health, and I will attempt to develop a few specific ideas that to me are fundamental for this kind of understanding. It's very interesting how in different theories about healing and medicine, we find the same idea with different names. It's what in naturopathy they call the healing power of nature. In homeopathy, they call it the laws of natural healing, as opposed to the laws of suppressive healing. In osteopathy, they talk about a self-regulating mechanism. And even in Western conventional medicine, there is the idea of homeostasis as this regulating mechanism, natural and spontaneous, that keeps the body alive and functioning well. For me, all these ideas are connected, and they are also connected to the yin-yang balance in TCM, the spontaneous yin-yang balance that we find in the state of Taiji. That's why I find Taiji theory so interesting, because it does provide a theoretical framework that explains where this natural balance comes from. So in TCM, we talk about yin ping, yang ni, which represents this ideal state of balance, yin-yang balance, which is spontaneously emerging from the state of Taiji, which is itself rooted in the state of Wuji, nothingness, emptiness. Hopefully today other teachers, maybe Shufeng, will extend on that theory through the states view theory. I will not go too much into it. Since we are talking about natural balance here, I would also like to link the idea of Taiji with the idea of nature. The idea of nature in Chinese is also fundamental in its philosophy, and from a foreigner's perspective, what I really like about the word nature, 自然 in Chinese, is that if we look at its characters, it's saying 自 is like oneself, 然 no? in that way. So it's like in the way of the self. That is what nature literally would mean. And I love that, because it's just making very explicit that nature is not something outside of us, but something which is part of us, or we are part of. Rather, the self and nature are the same. I think understanding that resonates with this idea of 天人合一, the idea of humanity and heaven becoming one. The understanding that we are nature. I think many people love to go to the forest, go to the sea. Being in communion with the natural environment immediately gives us a sense of peace and well-being, generally speaking. I think that's because not because of the environment itself, it's because this natural environment makes us resonate with our own nature within. And so it's finding that nature within that gives us that well-being. So that's why I think Taiji and nature are actually two sides of the same coin. Nature is the expression, the outer form or law, and Taiji is a theoretical idea that supports that law in the world. As we said, holistic medicines look for this natural balance, and instead of just trying to fix the problem from a very materialistic point of view. When we are trying to reach natural balance, that opens a huge, complex, dynamic system that needs to be in balance in order to have health, if we look at it from an external point of view. So we are looking for harmony of the whole, and the whole is huge. The whole involves the person's body, involves the person's emotions, involves the relationship with the family, the relationship with society. It involves the state of the country we're living in. It involves the natural environment, the state of health or pollution of the natural environment. So actually our health is depending on an amazingly complex system. So the idea of health becomes very, very broad. and complex. But at the same time, the idea of wholeness, being harmony with the whole, is very simple, right? It's connecting with the idea of being part of nature, 天人合一. In that, there is the balance. But what does it mean to be in harmony with the whole? It means to be cool, to be spontaneously doing what makes me happy, and everything is fine. What does it imply to be in that natural balance of myself and everything else? To me, it's the awareness of a state of completeness. I am complete, and I am one with everything else. Here is where balance and harmony are experienced. Whereas when there is conflict, when there is disease, there's always some kind of lack, some kind of something missing or something wrong. And something wrong implies a separation between what I need and what other people need. And that is where I experience suffering and I experience imbalance. And explaining that same thing from the Taiji perspective would be that natural balance is observed and experienced in the state of Taiji. That is that place of unity, of yin and yang. Whereas imbalance, conflict, or separation necessarily would be experienced in the state of Youji, or the state where yin yang are not together. They are definite duality. And the world of yin-yang, it's a world of forms, it's a world of matter, it's a world of tangible things. And it's the only world where suffering, lack, and friction can be experienced. When understanding health from this broadest perspective possible, healing, it's not something of the individual. Healing is something that is connecting all the networks. So, for instance, if I am healing something personal, if I heal an illness of some organ that was linked to my emotional state, and that emotional state was linked to my way of understanding my life and that situation. And through my healing, this understanding of the situation changes. And so I start, not only my body heals, but I start relating to other people differently, and I start to engaging in society, in the world differently. So that has an impact. My healing has an impact on everything. The same way someone else's healing is going to be in my benefit as well. So healing, it's a process of extension in the whole. Everything is connected. In conventional medicine and in natural medicine, everywhere, the importance of the relationship of mind and body, the mental well-being and physical well-being are totally connected, and that is accepted in all ways of thinking. However, there are two different perspectives we can take in understanding mind and body. And usually in Western society, and probably also in Chinese society, we see that the mind is part of the physical process. So that's why if somebody has depression or anxiety, we can give them some chemicals that will change the body functions, and those body functions will change their state of mind. So we understand mind as it is in the brain, or even sometimes now they say mind is also in the heart, or in the even in the intestines. But still, they're saying the mind is within the body. But what happens if we switch that idea around and we say, well, how do I perceive my body? How do I know my body? I know my body in my mind, in my perception. I perceive I have 2 hands, I perceive I have 2 legs, and I also see you and you and you as bodies. And so my body and all the bodies are in fact in my mind. And then holistic medicines and natural medicines in general have this perspective where we can heal the experience of the body from the mind. And it is really funny that in Western medical science, it is proved that taking a placebo, that is something that chemically has no effect, but you take it and you believe that you will get better by taking it, it works. So Western medical science has proved that the mind has the power to heal, and yet we don't dive into it. We don't go deeper into our mind and consciousness and try to develop that ability. To me, this heart-mind centered healing approach, it's part of the essence of most natural medicines, and its fundamental principles are completeness or wholeness, interconnectedness, and spontaneous natural balance. There are many forms to apply this kind of approach. There's many therapies, many ways of healing that might suit different people, but they have this root in common from my perspective. That's why all these types of healing for me must be brought to the light with most naturality. That is, there's nothing magical, there's nothing strange or exclusive about those healing paths, but they are rather the most natural way to heal. When teaching, I think the greatest emphasis must be put in this deepening, constant deepening of the relaxation of the body that goes hand in hand with the capacity to release the mental tension that keeps the body tight. The mental tension, it's a state of not trusting, it's a state of alert. So gradually we also learn to let go all these ideas, these thoughts that bring us into this state of tension. The process gives us more and more awareness of how our body is in tension or not, gives us awareness of our emotional state, gives us awareness of what we are thinking in every instant. The goal of this process is to recognize what lies underneath all that, and that is our true nature, that is our being with the whole, that is where our ability to heal is. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you again to the organizers of the symposium for giving us this space for sharing. See you soon.